In talks with Elliot Anderson. Just going to come straight out with it there. There's your title, there's your headline. Manchester United are looking at primary targets now. Confidence from within the football club has given Manchester United the opportunity to go forward and start communicating with an intent to go and get their top target, Elliot Anderson. And they feel like Manchester United going in early is going to get them ahead of everybody else, showing their intention now and making it clear to his representatives and the player that they want him in the heart of Manchester United's midfield. I'm just going to say it as it is. Manchester United are working on something behind the scenes here for this summer. It is good that Man United are playing good football and we're in the Champions League and we could potentially be there come the end of the season, because all of this, it then comes a reality. It's really, really exciting as a Manchester United fan to be thinking this way. Of course, we're all sort of staying reserved and making sure that we don't get too carried away with ourselves. But look, the talks are there. Manchester United, from several sources now online, are talking about Elliot Anderson being our top target, number one. We touched on it last night in the show with the news on Bruno Fernandes to sit down and have talks with the club over the future of his playing career, with both sides looking to get Bruno Fernandes nailed down. It's big because it looks like we're building around Bruno Fernandes. The next 3 to 4 years could be still with Bruno Fernandes in Manchester United side, whether you like that or not. I mean, we're live right now, so get your comments in the live comment section, please, everyone. If you're playing catch-up, give me your thoughts on this. Would you like a midfield that has Elliot Anderson in it with Bruno Fernandes ahead of him? Let me know your thoughts on this, because it excites me, for one, anyway. This is Forever United TV. It is Tuesday morning. United play Newcastle at St James's Park tomorrow night. We'll be looking ahead a little bit towards that later on in the show. Don't forget, everybody, as well as all of the news this morning, we're giving you the chance to win big on our prediction game. Get your predictions in now for the Newcastle game. It is going to be a big one. We are 29 winners on the game against Crystal Palace at weekend. Get your picks in now, everybody. You can see them up on your screen there. The link is in the live chat and in the description. Join our leaderboard now. If you're on our leaderboard, you're in with a chance of winning one of the 5 giveaway tops, courtesy of OK Jerseys, our matchday sponsor, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen right there. And of course, you could win on the game itself. At the end of this month, if you have been in any of our prediction games, you're also going to be entered into a draw to win 25k. Yes, 25k. More on that as we get later on into the show and we start talking about the Newcastle game, of course. But let's get into this news, because we do have an injury update. We also have another manager dropping out of the race, it would seem, and clearing the way for Michael Carrick. Are Manchester United's transfer plans all related around this news of Michael Carrick now? Like Romano said, pretty much Michael Carrick looking very, very favourable within Manchester United now to take the job in the summer. On top of that, Fabrizio Romano also bringing us news on departures from United last night. We'll get into that as well. And of course, I want all of your live comments in and your conversations. I want to dip into some of them with your debates going on in the live chats. Give me your thoughts on this. We're going to start with the Elliot Anderson story and everything that's happening right now. The Mirror have even jumped onto this. So on top of the transfer one and JS transfers yesterday on who was talking about Elliot Anderson. This has been common knowledge with everybody. Manchester United want Elliot Anderson. We don't need to dig into any sort of obscure, crazy website to try and dig the story out. Romano said it. Ben Jacobs has said it. Ornstein has talked about it as well. Every man and his dog knows that Man United now want Elliot Anderson. I'll bring you the updates on the other targets that Man United are looking at as well in this show. But Elliot Anderson has always been the number one. I think it was quite clear under Ruben Amorim and now, obviously, Michael Carrick as well. Manchester United want a new manager in place before the World Cup so they can be part of the transfer and recruitment activity going into the summer. They want to get things sorted before the World Cup. We've covered all of that. We're in and we're on this now. Elliot Anderson and the Mirror saying as well, from that City report, which was coming out a few weeks ago, Elliot Anderson's going to Man City. He's committed to Manchester City already. Quite a few people have already come out and said that is not the case now. And this has happened in the last week. And the Mirror again going in on this. Elliot Anderson hasn't made his decision on the club that he's going to. The reports are wide of the mark that it is just a foregone conclusion that he's going to Manchester City. Manchester United have always been and will always be in the race until Elliot Anderson tells them no. So for United to enter into talks like these reports are saying for Elliot Anderson, that means that they feel comfortable doing so and confident that there is an opportunity here and Elliot Anderson would be open to the idea of moving to Manchester United. Champions League football is the be-all and end-all for Man United, and like we already know, a lot of Man United's finances and the opportunity to buy these players in and give them that Champions League football next season is going to be a massive part of any big deal that comes in the summer. But Manchester United going in and speaking to Elliot Anderson and his representatives, putting their case across, making it clear what they want from Anderson and where they see him fitting into this side, because this is what it will be. You've seen the stories of how we approached Benjamin Sesko yesterday. Samuel Luckhurst, the recruitment team, Christopher Vivell, Matt Hargreaves went and pushed for Benjamin Sesko. They made an AI video of Manchester United fans wearing Benjamin Sesko's shirt, making sure he knew what life would be like at Manchester United. Gave him a Manchester United shirt to try on. The word is on Benjamin Sesko, and you can say this is all just a little bit too romantic, and it's kind of that love story feel to it. It's a bit, well, one of them. But he said he put the shirt on and he turned around to his agent and said, make the deal happen. Look, I'm not saying if someone puts a United shirt on, they're just going to be convinced and they're going to sign for Manchester United. But what I'm talking about here is the approach from Manchester United and what they're willing to do to get players in. Newcastle offered Benjamin Sesko a lot more money. City are probably going to offer Elliot Anderson more money. United feel comfortable and confident going in and talking to Elliot Anderson and his representative because they feel that they have got a pitch that's going to convince him. And being Manchester United's number one, you're going to replace one of the most decorated midfielders in the history of football in Casemiro, and how many trophies this guy has won. He's won everything in midfield. You're going to replace him. You're going to be the first name on the team sheet in that midfield. That's what Elliot Anderson is going to be looking at next season as a Man United player. He's also going to be in the Champions League. He's going to be competing. He's going to be part of a team which is really turning things around under Michael Carrick. Now this, I think, it's not like he's going to sign just because Michael Carrick's there, but I think stability has been a problem at Manchester United. The transfer activity over the years, agents pick up on this, and agents can obviously drive players to Manchester United. But we've seen over the last few years, agents have been driving the wrong types of players to Manchester United because they know they're going to pay big, they're going to pay over the top, and they're going to get a massive payday. Right now, Manchester United are making it clear with their new approach. It's their targets, the ones that they want, they're going to really push for, and the approach has completely changed from this football club over the last 2 years. It's more about the players in the future, the longevity, the amortization, everything that should be involved in a transfer, not just buying a name because we need a body in that position like United have done in the past. And for instance, the players that are going to be leaving after only being at the football club for a maximum of 2 years over this next transfer window. I think that proves that before Manchester United were all over the place, but now Manchester United are going to players like Elliot Anderson. And these talks will be completely different to what we've seen before, because this is the first time that Man United are going into these negotiations under Ineos with Champions League football in the bag. Touch wood, don't want to jinx it. We're still not there yet. And obviously, this is all just a little bit before everything really comes to the fore, basically, in that Man United are in the Champions League. We do need to be in there to be getting this deal done. And it will be negotiations with this in mind, I feel. We're confident we're going to make the Champions League. United are third in the league, 6 points clear of Chelsea, who are the team that are outside of the Champions League places right now. And that should give United confidence with just 10 games to go to really convince players that they are going to be in the Champions League. But make that player feel like he is going to be part of something massive going forward, because Manchester United are still outperforming other clubs financially, even without European football. Manchester United with European football and the structure and everything that United are doing now will be picked up on by players, and the best players. It now looks like a really appealing proposition to move to United now with everything that's happening, and the Champions League music and the Champions League participation is the final. It's the final nail in there, isn't it? It's like bang, that's the clincher. And that one, for us now, is, like I said yesterday, why we're talking about all of these players, why we're talking about the big names and the big players coming in to Manchester United, because we've got that Champions League hanging on there now at the end of this season. And Manchester United, I think, are in position. They're in the perfect position right now. And I'm not surprised these talks are coming out and these reports are coming out that Manchester United are fully in for Elliot Anderson. I think he's the best of every other midfielder out there. I'll say the same as what I said last night. I think he's better than Bruno. He's better than Tonali for me. I think he's the all-round midfielder. I think he can play 6 and 8 as well. So there's the hybrid version there to him. I've said in the past I don't like hybrid players. I'd rather have one player that's just perfect in that position and you know where he's going to play. You can pretty much be assured that Elliot Anderson is going to be the dictator. He's going to be the one that's picking the ball up and spraying it around and starting attacks. But he is that type of player with that football IQ that's going to then link up with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno doesn't need to then drop deep to try and dictate play. You've got someone else who can do it there, and Bruno can just do Bruno things further up the pitch where he is more effective. And if you bring in someone next to Elliot Anderson, which is what is supposedly happening, and we're going to move on to some other stories in a moment, but if you bring someone else in next to him, then you really are quids in on Manchester United and us really making a good go of it next season. I really do feel confident that the squad that we've got, the moves we're making behind the scenes and the players that are being shipped out, I think gives me confidence looking into the future of United, especially into next season, and thinking, wow, we actually are going to be in a pretty decent position where we can be competitive. It'll be interesting to see where we finish this season off and how far behind we are behind City and Arsenal as the top 2 teams in the country. If we can bring that into single figures, and I'm aware that we haven't got European football and they have, and we are still miles behind them, and this is why we cannot compete for the league title or the Champions League next season. I'm not stupid. I think there's a realistic look about this. We can challenge, and then we can build again on next season, and then maybe in 2028, we might be ready to challenge for the title, but I think another couple of transfer windows needed. And if you're going to be honest, if Manchester United have got any ambition to be where they want to be, and that whole mission, whatever it was, I can't even remember the number that Omar Barada came out with or what he called it. If you want to be challenging in 2028, you need players like Elliot Anderson. You need that type of player. There is another story saying that Man United have prioritised Adam Wharton as well. Look, the same stories are going to keep coming out, but with different angles to them. The only reason Elliot Anderson is important and why we're talking about him more is because we thought that it looked pretty much nailed on for Man City, according to the reports. Now, this has changed, completely changed. And it's changed since Romano came out and said that Manchester United love Elliot Anderson. Since he came out with that, all of the other reports on Elliot Anderson have been more positive in that he might sign for Manchester United. Stability within a football club, Carrick being in position or the new manager decided upon, Manchester United playing good football in the Champions League, being able to afford decent wages, being able to go out and convince players with all of that is completely different to what we had from last season. You were trying to convince players to come to Manchester United last season after we finished 15th and we're completely out of Europe, and we still made 4 absolute bombastic transfers. I couldn't think of a decent word then, sorry. We made 4 banging transfers, didn't we? Imagine Champions League football and a structure and United actually looking like we're playing well and moving up and convincing the best players. United are in a good spot right now. Obviously, we've got 10 games to go, 30 points to play for. That starts tomorrow night. But I think overall, Manchester United are quite within their rights to go forward and say, look, we feel like we're in the Champions League. We think we are going to make it. And we want you to spearhead our midfield going into next season. I think they should be confident. And that story about Benjamin Sesko and how Manchester United approached that transfer in convincing the player and making sure he knew what it was going to be like at United, because they know once they get into Manchester United, they're going to love it. It's getting them through the door. It's getting them in and making them feel. And just simple things, and little things like the new training facilities and everything that's there at Carrington. That feel-good factor. The young academy coming through, the whole vibe around Manchester United right now, obviously forget about the ownership and everything that's going on there. Everything football-related wise is on a positive. The academy, the women's team, the first team are playing well. It just looks like football finally is being spoken about more at Manchester United than anything else, and all of the circus that's going on off the pitch. So I think that Man United can get Elliot Anderson, and I think I'm happy with hearing these stories that Man United are going in and feeling like they can get Elliot Anderson. Go get it done. is what I say. Let's get your thoughts on this. Let's move into the chat for the first time this morning. If you are live with us right now, get in there and let me know what you're thinking, people, because I think this is a positive that United are actually going in and speaking to Elliot Anderson. It shows that them other reports about City having this nailed down were actually false in a way. Yeah, City are interested, but Manchester United are there, and that's what's important. We have got a poll running right now. If you are live with us, you can get involved in the live chat as well. And you can get involved in the poll that's there. Where will United finish this season? Is the poll running this morning, everybody? 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6 or lower. Just so you know, 6 or lower has only got 2% of the vote right now. I'm sure they're not United fans. So there is 98% of this poll that think Man United will get Champions League football. It's interesting when you break it down this way, because yesterday I did a poll where it was, do you think Michael Carrick is the man to take Manchester United forward? And 65% of you said yes. 98% of the poll this morning think that Carrick's going to get his Champions League football. Why wouldn't you think that he could carry it on if he manages this? Just saying. Give me your explanations to that in the live chat, please, everyone. We already have over 130 likes on the show. That's mega. Keep liking the video if you're enjoying the content. Like the video if you think Elliot Anderson's the right signing for Manchester United. Nick Jones says, Ineos are slowly turning things around. More than the Yanks ever did. Rome wasn't built in a day. Damage control. Ooh, we have some backing for Ineos in the chat there. When it comes to recruitment, you can't really argue with what's happening. I've said this so many times on shows, and a few other people have as well. Michael Powell says, if Fernandes stays, you might get 3 or 4 years out of him. Sell him now and get 7 to 8 years out of younger players. I don't think Fernandes is the be-all at United. See, I get what you're saying there, Michael, with that one. I also get that there is no one out there that you can replace Bruno Fernandes with. You can get 7 or 8 years out of younger players. Do you know that that player is going to develop and be the best player that you can get? My argument for Bruno Fernandes staying was he gives us the option to go out and get Elliot Anderson and the best midfield possible. Then after that, we can look at maybe replacing Bruno down the line, because this team gets United constantly in Champions League football. And if we're constantly in Champions League football, we've constantly got the bigger revenues coming in, and we don't need to worry about selling players for a certain fee. So it gives us time to get the right Bruno replacement. In another year or 2 time, we might have a Morgan Rogers or a Cole Palmer ready to go. 2 more years down on their contract. This is why it's important to keep Bruno now, I think, because there's no one to replace him. There isn't a better 10 out there. And for the next 2 years of looking around for a better replacement and keeping Bruno there and competing for the biggest trophies, I keep Bruno Fernandes and concentrate on the midfield. Because then you could get a 10 coming in with the best midfield in the Premier League behind him. I think that works best. You've already got some of the best forwards in the league. Why not build the best midfield and then build up what is going to be probably the biggest transfer in the club's history later down the line in trying to replace one of our best players over the last 10 years, which is Bruno Fernandes. Just my thoughts on that, but please do come back into the chat and let me know if you agree or don't. Compass Smurf says, yes, we may be a year or 2 early for some targets. You can't blame players for not trusting our owners to deliver consistent Champions League. It's going to be what happens on the pitch. Compost, you're dead right about that. The owners, I think recruitment-wise, have brought the right players in. And if other players see the quality of players that are going to Manchester United, they're automatically going to think, oh, actually, I think this is the right move for me. If these players are moving there, then I think this is a good place. And look, these players have moved and United have got Champions League football in that first season. And I definitely want to be part of that. Stephen Holmes says, morning, Adam, and all for the money they're talking about. I think there are much better players than Anderson, Watt and Baleba, to be honest. You're going to have to name a few for that one, Stephen. We have spoke about a few. I don't think there is. That's my opinion. You're going to have to pay more for Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali. You're going to have to pay, well, you're going to have to pay similar money for Carlos Baleba, and I think he's better than him. And don't forget, the money that's being mentioned, no one's talked about that this morning. I've not mentioned it. I've not even brought it in. The money that's being mentioned is 50 to 70 million. Yes, please. Thank you all day long. I'm taking Elliot Anderson for that amount of money because that's the clause in his contract, like Ben Jacobs said, if Nottingham Forest don't get European football. They are 16 points away from getting European football. Elliot Anderson is going to be a bargain going off what Ben Jacobs has reported. Now, if you trust him or not, to feel like that is right and what he has said, then that's a different story. You might not think that that is correct, but if we're going off what's been said, and like you said, mate, then Elliot Anderson's cheap. So, yeah, going off the numbers, I'm taking him because I think he's probably one of the cheapest midfielders out there at that price. I don't think you're going to get much difference out of Baleba and Wharton. I just mentioned Tonali and Guimaraes. They're going to be the most expensive because Newcastle will never sell to a rival unless they get like what they got for Alexander Isak, obviously, above and beyond his valuation. I think that Elliot Anderson is the best option all around for Man United. There are question marks over what he might want wage-wise, which is always going to be not so much a problem, but something new for Ineos to deal with. Like I said, no Champions League football. Agents are going to go into these conversations and negotiations with United and say, you got Champions League money. My player should be on this amount of money. And Elliot Anderson is going to drive, I think, a negotiation between 200 to 250, maybe even a bit more than 250. I'm all right with that, as long as Elliot Anderson provides the goods. I do think that he is worth that money. If you get a cheap transfer fee, like we've always said, I don't care if a player costs a certain amount or plays on a certain amount of money, as long as the club can afford it and the amortization is value for money. You look at the annual affordability for Man United, like we did in the show last week with how much Man United could spend this summer. It's about what it cost a year. Elliot Anderson could cost Manchester United as little as 25 to 30 million pounds a season over 5 years. That's what we could get Elliot Anderson for. And that's how Man United will calculate it. And the amount of money that's coming in to Manchester United, it's more than affordable. The problem we've had is we've got big players, or so-called big players, on massive wages that are not playing. And that's always been the argument. I've not got a problem with what Bruno Fernandes is on. He's the best number 10 in European football right now, probably the world. With his numbers that he's putting out, I don't mind Bruno being on 300 grand a week wages. Casemiro at the moment, that's a different debate. But this season, he's probably earned his money in being that man and the only man available for us in that midfield who can do that job. These players that are playing week in, week out and are winning games for Manchester United are worth that money. And that's how you've got to look at it. And that's how I think Man United are looking at it. When we went 1-0 down, I didn't worry. When Bruno took the pen, my eyes were wide open and I just felt like we could win this game. Shows the absolute difference in confidence we have in this team now. It does feel different. You're dead right about that, mate. 100%. I can't wait for Wednesday. Let's get behind the team and win 2-0. I'll take 2-0 right now, honestly. I don't think a draw is a bad result tomorrow night. Look, I'm being very, very cautious with how I look at Newcastle because I know Newcastle's a difficult game. It really is. But look, I want to get into the other news as well. So let's start breaking that down. There is the story that I touched on yesterday. Someone did just mention in the chat. Sorry, I can't remember the name. But yeah, Matheus Fernandes at West Ham is a target for Manchester United. 21-year-old Portuguese central midfielder. With West Ham going down, they will need to sell. They will need to sell to obviously recoup the money that they have lost. They are losing money now. I think it was a loss of 100 million or something like that. West Ham were reporting. Obviously, without Premier League football, them running that stadium and everything else within that squad, the likes of Gerard Bowen, the likes of Somerville, Fernandes, all looking to leave. That's the rumour and that's the story. Manchester United were interested in Fernandes when he was at Southampton before he moved to West Ham. There was stories around then when Ten Hag was in town. And Manchester United didn't go for it. Obviously, they were looking at bigger players at the time. It was under a different regime, obviously, as well. So United, I think with Fernandes, he's just another option in case the obvious doesn't come off. There is plenty of midfielders that are there on Manchester United's shortlist that they would go for. There are plenty there that they can go and get if they don't get Elliot Andersons, Adam Whartons and Balebas of this world. And Fernandes is one of them. The Gerard Bowen story, I've left that away because he's 29. They're going to want crazy money. I don't think he's the type of attacking wide player that United want. Very similar to what we've already got. And I think Cunha and Mbeumo are ample quality in that area. So too Ahmad. Bowen's not got blistering pace. United want a fast attacking wide player to give something a little bit different. Bowen's not that player. He's 29. I don't think United are going to go for him. That's all I think on that one anyway. But yes, Matheus Fernandes is definitely a player Manchester United are watching. The reports are they are sending scouts and people from Manchester United are watching his performances now as the season draws to a close. And obviously Manchester United, and the word that is being used a lot within all of these reports and talks is the opportunistic transfer. And this one is, like Elliot Anderson, like Morgan Gibbs-White, the clauses in contracts for players and their clubs not performing to the levels that them contracts actually warranted. That's what United look at, the opportunity. And Fernandes going down to the Championship is unthinkable. And he will be sold by West Ham. And I think there are plenty of relegation clauses. I think there was a report that came out from David Ornstein yesterday that every single player in that Spurs squad has a relegation clause, but a 50% wage deduction on their contracts if they get relegated. Daniel Levy's last piece of business. So you can see, I'm not taking a pay cut of 50% and playing in the Championship. So your Kulusevskis of this world, your Bergvalls of this world, your Madisons of this world, all of them, Solankis, like you can imagine if Spurs go down, the absolute carnage that that's going to cause. These are the transfers that everyone's waiting to see what happens. And they're there. The two players at Wolves, Matheus Mane and João Gomez, they're in the same boat again. There's plenty there for United to go for that have got proven quality that can come in cheaper than what probably Elliot Anderson and the other big names are going to cost Manchester United. So there is all of that as well. Is there anyone out there that you would go for? Get into the live chat, please, everyone. Would you go for any of these players that we're talking about? Any of the so-called lesser players rather than the big name players? Or would you just think Man United, if we're going to be serious, need to go for the best? And performance-wise, Elliot Anderson is well and truly up there this season. Get into the comment section, let me know. I know what you're saying, Adam. I'm thinking Stella, Tonali, and how about the scouts doing a better job? They're out there, mate. Look, the scouts, I'm not even moaning about the scouts. Scouts are doing a great job. But they also know that proven ability is gold. And that's paid massive dividends to Manchester United this season. Huge. With Cunha and Mbeumo and what they have brought this team, that there proves that this is how United get over this initial comeback hurdle. And then, like you said, like this isn't going to be the way for United season in, season out. Like buy in 2 or 3 Premier League proven players at a fortune price. United need to stabilise and get back up and compete. And at the moment, they just need players to replace big name players. Casemiro is huge. You cannot go and get an unknown to replace Casemiro. You might be able to get one of the other 3 midfielders in that bracket because there will be 3. Romano pretty much confirming this last night without saying it in the way that he described the situation with Manuel Ugarte. He is gone. There are several Italian clubs ready to come in and take Manuel Ugarte, and United are open to offers like Xerxes, like Mount, Ugarte as well. We've always said that Ugarte's days look numbered at the club because Carrick's not playing him. We're literally blown out of our arse. We'll see if he gets on the pitch tomorrow night. If he doesn't get on tomorrow night, with it being double game week and looking as tired as we have been recently, then I think it's rubber stamped, isn't it? See you later. Out you go. Ugarte's there if someone gets injured, and that's about it. He's never going to come in. You've got a 33-year-old Casemiro who's playing 90 minutes week in, week out at the moment because Carrick doesn't trust in Ugarte. And Romano's picked up on this, dug in, and dug into reports and find out that, yes, he is going to be sent back in. He's not completely confirmed it, but Romano does videos like he did last night in making a big point about Ugarte could leave in the summer. He's gone. The 2-year effect in full view for Manchester United. Now, if you don't cut it in 2 years, you're out of the door. You're not good enough. And that's how Man United should always operate. Manuel Ugarte gone. So, Casemiro and that replacement, just going back to that, you need to get the best that you can get to replace him. He is that good a player. You cannot replace him with an unknown Premier League player. It's not Look, you could say there's Premier League players there that could replace him, but I think you need a big, big signing to replace Casemiro. Then you look at another two, because we need two more because Agate's going. That could be a lesser player. That could be your João Gomez, your Matheus Fernandes type of player. It could be a Stiller. And then another one on top of that. Man United are willing to spend over 200 million on that midfield this summer. So I'm expecting 3 big signings for that midfield because Agate's gone. And United have to replace squad players like for like. So as it is now, and as stretched as this squad is, if you sell anyone, they need all replacing, like for like, and then more players need to come in on top of that. If Mason Mount is sold, by the way, this summer, wow, we might be moving to the area of 6 to 7 players coming in the summer. You cannot sell Mason Mount and not replace him. There has to be someone else coming for that player. Same with Xerxes, Agate and Casemiro. That's four match day squad players out. You have to bring in at least replacements for each one, and then more on top to stretch the squad in depth and quality in depth for competing at all levels. Because United, and I've said this before, we would not be where we are now if we had European football. Not a chance this squad is good enough for that. It's good enough, like I said at the start of the season, with no distractions, to go full on in on the Premier League and get into the Champions League places. I knew this squad would be able to do this because we've seen it before with Forest and Newcastle. This is what I've always said. Not the best squads, but good enough to compete and get up into the top 4 with no distractions of European football. Next season, it's going to be different for United. We're pretty much confirmed to be in Europe already with the gaps that we're building now to the Europa League places, for instance. I think we're 8 clear for Europa League football now, 6 clear for Champions League football. So we've definitely got European football next season. And we need a bigger squad. We need depth. That's what we need. But we need to make sure we replace the massive players, the huge players like Casemiro. And this is why we're keeping Bruno and why we're keeping Harry Maguire, because it's too much work in one summer to replace so many senior players. Let's get some more comments in on this as well. Philip says, it is very worrying how tired we are looking with only playing 1 game a week. We should have the energy to be blowing teams away, really. We haven't really got the bench to change things either. Like, Man United's season is now hinged on everyone staying fit. It is crucial we don't pick up any more injuries. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. Thankfully, touch wood, we are okay at the moment and we are managing this. And don't get me wrong, like another 11-day break after the game against Newcastle tomorrow isn't ideal for us. But I'm thinking actually in terms of getting through this season and getting Champions League, just making sure we're giving time to these players to recover, I think is actually vital right now for us. But then again, I sometimes think, and I think Kaz said this to me the other day as well, I think when they're not playing games, I think the fitness drops off because you need that match sharpness. It wasn't there against Everton, wasn't fully there against Palace, although it was a bit better. I'm hoping by the time we play Newcastle tomorrow, the match sharpness is there. We've got a couple of games in the bag and we're good to go because we could see how poor it was, that Everton game, for both sides who had big breaks. So, yeah, hopefully it isn't the same and hopefully Manchester United are a lot sharper tomorrow night. But I think we might see substitutes come in tomorrow because we do need to rest certain players. We need to look after them. 250 a week for Anderson is mental, mate. Worst take you've ever had. Throws the whole structure out the window. Would never happen anyway, thankfully. No, it doesn't, Staffo. It doesn't throw any structure out of the window because Manchester United have clearly made it obvious, and this has come out from different sources at the football club, that they will pay big money for players that are continuously playing in the team. And Elliot Anderson is a proven baller. If you want him, you're going to have to pay that money because City will. When we're talking about not competing, I'm sure you'll be one of them people, Staffo, that comes out and says, why are Man United not going out there to get, why are we even bothering? Why are we not competing with Manchester City? If City get Anderson, you'll be one of them players, one of them fans that comes out and says we should be competing. It's not a bad take at all. It's a realistic take. And that's what modern football is. When we are competing for Champions League players, you need to pay more. And I don't care about paying more for the best players. And that's what we've done. We have got players in that are the best in Cunha and Mbeumo in their positions last season, and they've helped Manchester United get to where they are now. The method is proven. Yes, they're not on as much money, but again, there might be incentives if we get Champions League and their money go up as well. You don't know what's in these contracts. We might be paying more for these players. And to be honest, if we do pay 250 grand a week for Elliot Anderson and he comes in and he's in that team for the next 10 years, well, people were saying, why are we paying Lenny Yoro, an 18-year-old, that amount of money? Well, no one's moaning about that now. 2 seasons in, a player that's on just over 100 grand a week wages that can come in and do a job when Leach's not fit or another player's not fit, coming in and doing a job there like he has done the last 2 games, 2 wins, 100 grand, just over 100 grand a week. People were moaning about that. Come on. Seriously? You have to pay big money these days. Manchester United are earning enough to pay it. I don't think that that is out of the way. I don't think that that amount of money a week is going to affect Manchester United at all. We should be paying more money to players to get the best players in. We should be competing in the transfer market. Manchester United are behind the likes of City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea in terms of wages at the moment. And I explained it before. Giving that amount of money to players that are not playing is ludicrous. Giving money to giving that amount of money to players that are competing and taking United forward is sensible, I think. And that's my take on it. I don't think it's out there at all, or a poor take, to be honest. Can't see Chelsea getting anything at Villa. That means a win at Newcastle gives us Champions League footy. They ain't coming back from 9 points behind. The biggest game of the season. We have to show up, says James. Look, that I do think is there and an option for United. Look, I'm not going to go in tomorrow night and you're not going to see me losing it. I know how big a game Newcastle is tomorrow. It's massive. It's massive for Manchester United. If we get the win tomorrow, I am fully convinced Champions League football is there. I've said this before. I've said it to different people. I don't expect it to be easy, and I would not be surprised if United lose tomorrow night. I would take a draw now. I'm just going to be completely honest with how I feel. I take a draw now because, like I said before, beating Everton, beating Palace, these are the games you've got to win to give yourself the opportunity to maybe have the draw against Newcastle. Going away to Newcastle and getting a draw is not a bad result, by the way. I know they're having a poor season, but everyone turns up against United, and Newcastle have always been a bogey ground of ours. Look, I think United can win it. 100% I do. But I'm not going to be absolutely devastated if United get a draw tomorrow night. I just want to make that clear. I think United can win the game, and I think Newcastle are there for the taking. But I have to have a sensible look about this game. I said we'll beat Palace. I said we'd beat Everton. Said there'd be tough games, but I expect the win. I think it'll be exactly the same tomorrow night as well. Quickly on that, before we go into the other subjects again, I did promise you a look at the prediction competition. Again, there are your options, everybody. I'm going to read them out for you now and what you can do. Get involved in our game. It's a sweepstake format game. All you have to do is press yes or no to these preset predictions that are on the game. Will Anthony Gordon get a goal or an assist? Yes or no. Matheus Cunha will have 2 shots on target. Yes or no. There will be under 3 goals in the match. Will it be a tight game? Yes or no on that. Manchester United will score at least 2 goals in the game. Good chance of that. Good chance of that. Newcastle will have over 5 corners in the game. Yeah, I'm going to put yes on that one because I think they will. There will be over 1 goal in the game. Sorry, there will be 2 goals in the first half. That's what that 1.25 goals one is there on your screen, as you can see. So basically, there has to be 2 goals in the first half for that to be a yes. Do you think that will happen? Yes or no? Get your prediction in. There will be under 10 corners in total in the match. Get your thoughts in on that. Join our leaderboard, everybody. You will be in with a chance of winning. You can wager yourself up. You can play the game for free. If you're on our leaderboard, then of course, you are going to be entered into the draw, which is going to be tomorrow for top courtesy of our matchday sponsor, OK Jerseys. One of the latest Man United training tops. The Stone Roses gear is out. One of the hoodies, or one of the up-to-date shirts, whatever you want. You can pick anything on the store if you're drawn out of the hats. I am going to announce the winners from the Crystal Palace game on this show right at the end as well, so stay tuned to the end for that. If you were on our game for the Crystal Palace one, of which 29 people actually won money on, amazing. And of course, if you played a game, you're in the draw at the end of the month for 25k. I'm still waiting to see from Big Up who the winners were on the 25k draw from February, so bear with me on that. I will find out who it was. And of course, let's hope that we can get an FUTV winner. If not in Feb, get on the game now and you are in the draw, of course, when it comes to the end of March as well. But that is running now, everyone. Get your predictions in. You have up until kickoff tomorrow night to get your predictions in. Join the leaderboard, win big, win 3 different ways. And like I said, 29 people won at weekend on that game. And I'm about to give away 5 more prizes as well to people who entered into that competition for the Crystal Palace game. We do it every single game day. If you are new, you will be given $5 to spend on the game. And if this is your second time this month, I'm thinking you might actually get a little bit of a bonus as well. So if you've played 2 games or 3 games, you get bonuses off the game to spend on the competition for free as well. So get involved, everybody. Let's just check this poll out in the chat as well. Where will United finish this season? We're creeping up to 1,000 votes on this poll now. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th or lower. At the moment, 58% of you think Man United will finish 3rd. 4th, 31%. So pretty much nearly 90% is saying you're going to finish top 4. That would have been unthinkable come 3 or 4 weeks ago, wouldn't it? My God, not 3 or 4 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks ago before Carrick started, the turn of the year. Wow. I must admit, when we signed Agate, I thought he was just the player we needed. What a disaster. Can't pass the ball to a teammate, a basic requirement for a midfielder, which is why he's going. Again, Andrew, good points. I think we were all hopeful. We're always hopeful when a player comes in, but there's never a guarantee. All you can do is shorten the odds of that player being a success. And sometimes you have to spend a lot more money to shorten them odds, which is the way in life anyway. And that's what United did with Mbeumo and Cunha. You were guaranteed that they were going to be okay in what they did. Lamens and Sesko were excellent recruitment buys for Manchester United and now look like absolute steals. To get a top number 9 and a top number 1 for less than, what was it? Less than 80 million? That's gold in the Premier League. I mean, my God, you have got a number 9 and a goalkeeper there, number 1 for the next 10 years. Obviously, they have to keep performing. And I think they've got the right mentality. But 2 transfers that are going to go under the radar, I think, from the summer. We've already been voted the best transfer of the summer in Bryan Mbeumo by several different people now. And I think, again, another summer like that, this transfer window coming up, United can start moving forward. Difference this time is we're losing big players that are doing things now in the team. The Casemiro loss, I don't think people realise how big a deal that actually is. Casemiro leaving United and needing a replacement for him is absolutely huge. I did mention at the top of the show, by the way, pop a like on the video, hit that subscribe button, everyone, if you're enjoying the content here on Forever United TV. I did say at the top of the show there was another manager that's dropped away from the potential candidate list for Manchester United. So we've had a few now, haven't we? Tuchel, Ancelotti. Obviously, we know that the Nagelsmann situation probably isn't going to happen if Ineos want to bring in a manager before the World Cup. Enrique, still unknown as well. Like, he's distanced himself from United. I don't know if that's going to work out for us. And of course, we had the old Premier League managers as well. So we can forget Glasnow. He's fallen off a cliff at Crystal Palace. I don't think we're going to go for Pochettino because United want to get this deal done before the World Cup starts. So Poch is managing USA. Of course, you can do pre-arranged contracts. I can't see anyone wanting to do that, though, to be honest. They want to concentrate on the World Cup. And then you had like this of De Zerbi, but it is now being spoken about that De Zerbi is destined to be the next Spurs manager. Talks are already ongoing. Now, of course, De Zerbi was thought of and highly thought of at Manchester United. In fact, they did approach him a few years ago before taking Ten Hag. So De Zerbi is admired at Manchester United and could actually be one of the favourites within the club. I wouldn't personally, but it does look like conversations are now accelerating. The Tudor situation at Spurs, that is an absolute disaster of an appointment right there. Wow, I don't look. I'm laughing because it's not us and we're not the circus anymore. But De Zerbi going to Spurs, obviously, is going to be based on if they stay in the Premier League. He's not going to go to the Championship, of course. I don't know who they get if they go down. But I feel like right now, De Zerbi to Spurs makes absolute sense if they stay in the Premier League. And Man United are well clear of that. I think this now, where United are competing, I think the whole conversation of the so-called lesser managers is just drifting away. The conversation's not there now. Like, De Zerbi's not being thought of. The lesser Premier League managers. Now United are actually in a position, like third in the league, where we can actually say, all right, we've got a manager already. We've got a perfect head coach in Carrick. Really, would you want to change Carrick after getting us third? Look, it's still a bit of time to go yet, and we've got to finish there. But Carrick in third, can any of these other managers get Man United to third? He's already proved that he can do it. You'd have to bring in someone big to compete with Michael Carrick at this point. It has to be a massive name. And I'm sorry, De Zerbi's not that. And the talks of him going to Spurs, I think this is where it makes sense to me. I think this is where I think De Zerbi belongs. He should be going to Spurs. That's the type of club where he deserves to go. I don't think he deserves to be at a top club. I mean, his resume doesn't shout out, go to a big club. What's he done? He's failed pretty much at Marseille. Yes, got him to the Champions League. And then this season he's gone already. He's not even 2 years in. Brighton, he did all right, good structure. But if you can't get it right at Brighton, then you've got no chance. The way that their recruitment and the way that that club is run is set up as a starter club for any manager with aspirations of making it big. And he's not gone any further after that. So, in my opinion, De Zerbi, no, he shouldn't be on Manchester United's list. That ship sailed, and Man United are not going for the next up-and-coming young manager, apparently, according to the stories. They've tried this already. And yeah, De Zerbi's got a bit of Premier League experience, more than what Amorim had, and more than what Ten Hag had. I think Manchester United know what they've got right now in Carrick, and they probably know that it's going to take someone bigger to even come in and keep Man United going the way they're going. And people keep forgetting about Michael Carrick and the team. Everyone says it's Carrick, no experience. I'm sorry. Michael Carrick is open to speaking and to critique and to people giving him ideas within his own coaching setup. You have got a serial winner sat next to Michael Carrick, the best number 2, near enough, in recent years, in the last 10 years, in Premier League history, in Steve Holland. Don't count out what Carrick has got with him. Don't just judge Carrick's experience and what he's done. He's doing well now where he is, but like Carrick says, if you don't have that team with you, you don't succeed. And Steve Holland, been there, done it, seen everything at the highest level, at Premier League level as well. And that is the difference. Someone coming in, are you going to have that next to you? No, they're going to bring their own men in. I'm sorry, but the combination is what's worked for United. Not just Carrick on his own. Steve Holland and Carrick is what's working at United. That's what's going to do it, I think. And that's what's going to be difficult to compete with and get something better than. Because whoever you bring in, the big name, none of them are going to have as much experience in the Premier League as Carrick and Steve Holland with what's available. And I'm only saying that because Tuchel's out of the window, Ancelotti's out of the window, they're gone, they've signed new deals. And Nagelsmann's not got anything on them too in terms of experience. Even Enrique hasn't got it. Right now, you have got a good combination there. Don't count out the actual team. Don't just look at Michael Carrick, is what I'm saying, because there's more to that setup than just him. I think that there is why United are doing well. It's not just Carrick. He's learning. He's still young. And like we said, he's only had, 9 games Premier League experience. He's unbeaten and he's won 7 of them. So it's a good old start. I know there is going to be times when this all falls off a bit and we'll see a different side of Michael Carrick and see how he recovers and what he does with the players. in bringing them back again. And that's the next thing that we want to see. But we're all happy for the wins to come right now. And obviously, a second season syndrome will kick in. We'll have problems next season. There will be a drop-off because we got more games. It'll be a different challenge for him. He'll be judged differently because Manchester United are bringing signings in for him. And it's not seen as the new manager type of bounce situation. There's all that to deal with for Michael Carrick next season. But look, I just think what he's got there and the team that he's got there is what Man United need right now. And I think going into next season, United are not expected to challenge for the Champions League or the Premier League. It's just moving a little step forward. If Carrick then deserves to carry on after that, then we carry on after that. Because the season after, I think if United do improve on this season, for instance, and stay in the top four, close that gap, get to maybe the quarterfinal of the Champions League or something like that, close the gap on the top two, I mean, by the way, in the Premier League. The 2028 season, that's when United are expected to win a trophy. And we'll be able to judge Carrick from that. And then that's when you start looking, I think, at whether Carrick has done enough. Can he do it quicker than what, for instance, like Mikel Arteta has done at Arsenal? If he wins it this year, I still think City are going to pip him to it now after what's happened. But still, I think this is where Manchester United are at. And I don't think there's any manager coming in from anywhere that's going to guarantee Man United the trophy next season. It's too soon. So just keep Carrick. That's what I say anyway. He's proved that he can get top four, which is important for us right now. Stability. Stay and build. And then we can challenge and properly challenge for the Premier League and the Champions League. No one's expected to win them major trophies next season. Is there anyone who thinks that United can win the league next year or win the Champions League next year? I'm being realistic, aren't I, here in saying this? Everyone knows that I'm the most optimistic, positive Man United fan out there, but United are not going for the Premier League next year. It's too soon, especially with European football being back. But if we stay in the top four next season and get into the last eight of the Champions League, that is a huge season for Man United. Maybe we could win a League Cup or an FA Cup. Top four and a domestic trophy next season is a season success for Man United. Then after that, we go to the next level. Then we start to look for trophies, the big trophies again, because I think that's when we'll be ready for it. Not next season. So, Eric, he's proved that he can do what we need for next season now. I don't think he's going to have a problem with handling European football and the squad. I think he needs backing, which brings in the recruitment side of things, but we're expecting that to be big. I think he's got the experience around him. I do. I think he's got enough there. With Steve Holland next to him, I think Carrick can be a success. I really do. And people are counting out Steve Holland in all of this. How much influence do the backup team have in the process? I think it'll get Carrick the post. The players are singing to the press about how good they are. So Ineos keep them very suitable, very subtle. Sorry. Babs, in replying to Andrew there, sorry, your comment's just gone off my screen, sorry. PC Master says that Carrick's style of play is not different to Ole on reinventing anything. He just brings feel good and stability back. The Euros 2026 and 25% bumper in salary players are self-motivated. I get what you're saying there, but Carrick's come in with no investment. He's come in with someone else's team. And look, you can already see, don't judge Carrick now. I think if you're going to jump in now and change the manager, thinking that the reason for doing that is because Carrick has just got that bounce. He's got no style of play. Michael Carrick is limited into what he can do right now with the squad that he's got. When you've got that lineup, it's great, but it's got no pace. Zero pace whatsoever in Man United's side. It's the slowest team I've ever seen. You got Ahmad probably is the fastest player in our team, apart from Dorgu, when he's on the pitch. Like Luke Shaw's not quick, Dallow's not quick. The centre-backs are not quick. The midfield's the slowest in the Premier League. Bruno's not the quickest player. And Mbeumo and Cunha, as skillful as they are, they're not quick. Sesko's probably got a bit of speed, but you like to see him more in the box. It's not a fast team. It needs a little bit of variety. When you look to the bench at weekend and what Carrick had, and bearing in mind, what have we got? We're missing Mason Mount as a forward option. That's it. He's got no midfield to bring on. He's got a few centre-backs, young centre-backs in Heaven and Yoro to bring on in emergency, and Mazraoui. He's got Xerxes and Agate as other options. I mean, come on. What He needs more. I think he has got what it takes to keep United in the Champions League places next season, personally anyway. Look, we could run forever and a day with this. The conversation is brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody, for the show this morning. Well over 300 likes. What a great debate. I'm really sorry I couldn't get to everyone's comments. I just need to announce the winners from the prediction game from Crystal Palace at weekend. So please make sure that you are tuned in and ready to go. These 5 names that I read out right now are your names on Big Up in the game. Not your YouTube name, your Big Up name, everybody. So you can check this out. Performance Coach is the first winner. Then we've got Mark63. Gems, well done. Yes, someone who's actually in the live chat, I know. Gems, you are a winner of one of the OK Jerseys tops as well. Love that we've actually got someone who's actually a mod who's winning one of the prizes as well. So Gems, you are a winner. Dean Mason is the 4th, and the 5th is Marito05. That was the random draw made. So, yes, that I think it's a nice balanced show. Thank you, everybody, for being involved. Love the conversation, love the debate. Please pop a like on the video on the way out. Make sure that you do hit the subscribe button. Also, please get your comments in below. Again, sorry I can't get to everyone's in the live chat. There's so many people in there. Been a great debate this morning. Really appreciate everyone's contributions to the show. Fantastic as always. Like, share and subscribe. I'll be back later with Michael Carrick's press conference. Don't forget, that is today as well. So we'll get updates on all the injuries to certain players as well. Will Mason Mount be back? Will Martinez be back for the game against Newcastle tomorrow? That is to come. 1 o'clock. We are live here on Forever United TV, everybody.